This program was first broadcast on Canterbury's access media station, Plains FM, and was made with the assistance of New Zealand On Air.
Hello everybody, and welcome to God is Not Absent, a podcast in which we share stories of faith in the lives of New Zealanders today. This podcast is hosted by me, Apurva Patel-Kana, a young woman who has embarked on her own journey with God and is incredibly curious to know if God really is as dead or absent as many Westerners seem to think. I'm hoping that through this podcast we'll see how vibrant and how real God really is. Because if God really is not absent, well then, that changes everything. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our next episode of God is Not Absent. This week we have Hannah Rempala joining us.
Hello.
Hello. So Hannah, I met you like 2 weeks ago.
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. I know that you are a part of student life, and pretty much I heard from a friend of a friend that you have an amazing testimony. And so, yeah, I really wanted to have you on here. So welcome, Hannah. Would you like to tell the audience a little bit about yourselves, what your interest is, what your hobbies are?
Yeah, so, well, obviously my name's Hannah. I grew up in Timaru. I am now in Christchurch, which is a whole lot better, I can tell you that. But what are my interests and all that sort of stuff? I don't know. I am very...
You're like, I have no interest.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm quite a bubbly, extroverted person, so I don't know. I think people interest me the most, and I don't know. I also do dabble in drawing.
Cool.
And all that sort of stuff, but I don't know.
Have you ever tried painting?
I cannot paint for the life of me.
That's
the one thing I can't do.
Yeah. I'm the only thing I can draw is eyes. It's like the one thing I doodle.
But like, can you draw both eyes or just one?
Oh, I always draw the right eye. My left eye looks like a potato, but then the right one looks great. Yeah. Do you do that? Do you doodle like quite a bit?
Oh, a little bit. I always do doodling in like my journal and stuff like that, but like I just don't do eyes. They never look the same.
Oh.
Like
right.
Little like dots.
They're all their own unique character.
Yeah.
Well, should we get right into it?
Oh, yes, I think so. Sorry?
No, that's great. All right, so Hannah, I wanted to ask you, when did you first encounter God?
First encounter? Ooh, that's a cool question. First encounter? Ooh, I guess it depends. If you like, when I first like gave my life to Christ would be like about mid last year. I started learning of Christ and the gospel probably like would have been the start of last year a lot, and like diving into all that sort of knowledge and all the juicy stuff of the death and the resurrection. But yeah.
And so what led you to encountering God in that way and just learning all that about him?
What led me to it was actually the start of last year did not have the best time. I basically went from having a really good group of 15, well, good girl, I don't know about that, but a group of 15 friends where we were all like really close for years. I lost them at the start of last year because of my anxiety. They were like gave up on me, and I was like, oh no, this is no good. So I like was depressed for a long time. I was a month bedridden, and then something in me was like, nah, bro, you need to get up and get your life back together again. And then coming up here, I encountered with student life, and student life were amazing at coming in and being like, yo, have you heard about this guy Jesus? And I was like, I mean, everybody knows Jesus, but nobody like, not like, oh, you don't know him, you know? Yeah, so that kind of started the journey for me, was basically, and a couple other people in my life were like, you should look into religion. And I was like, oh, yeah, eventually. So this was kind of the point where God comes in and he's like, yo, this is the gospel. And I was like, oh.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. So what was it that, so you said that you had heard about Jesus before. When was the first time you heard about Jesus?
I think everyone to some degree kind of has a knowledge of Jesus as a person. So growing up non-Christian, I know you always hear, I mean, people like kind of swear with Jesus' name, but like Jesus' name is always around you. Like you have those Christian friends, and you know of like the story of Christmas, where obviously Jesus' birth and all that thing. So you kind of have knowledge of him, but you don't know him as such.
So what did you think of Jesus before? I guess last year.
I don't even know. To be honest, I don't know. I was just like, oh yeah, he's some guy. Some people are like, I don't know. I liked how people had faith in him, but I didn't know anything for myself deeper than that. Yeah.
And yeah, so you said that when you kind of met these people from student life, you learnt a lot more about it, and you're like, whoa, it's pretty cool. So what was it that you found really cool about the gospel?
About the gospel? That's a good question. I think just the love of God. I think that's one thing that's always stunned me quite a bit, is especially the love through his people, but even just God's love and how much he does love us. Was it John 3:16, where like, for God so loved the world he gave his one and only son. It's like all that sort of stuff. It's like powerful. Yeah.
So how did your life change then, like once you understood this about God?
For like 6 months I was just like, I don't know. But I guess when I finally like dove into it and really understood it and gave my life, like it changed everything. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with all that sort of stuff, but
That's okay.
yeah, I guess, I don't know, for the first time in years, I'd never been as happy. I don't even know when the last time I was like decently happy before that, which is really sad. But I guess it also brings power to my testimony and stuff like that. But yeah, just the amount of ways God's blessed me since then has been amazing. Like hosting the ball, and I was saying to you the other week about going
Sorry,
from...
can you repeat that? So hosting,
emceeing a ball last year. Because, yeah, went from being bedridden for like a whole month to like with anxiety and depression, and then like, was it September, like going and then like emceeing a ball in front of 110 people. It's like, there's no other way I could have done that without Christ. So like it's impacted my life majorly.
So just talking about that, what was kind of the lead up to hosting this ball? Like, were you praying to God? Is there something what is this ball about?
Well, it was a combined Christian ball. So it was like a place where all the obviously Christians around uni kind of just came together from the different clubs and then just like popped off together. But I don't know, I guess there was a bit of prayer with it, but then also just, I think it was the first real step where I was like, I'm just going to have to depend on God for this one. I know I can't do this on my own strength. So kind of just been like, God, just really, for your glory, just be with me in these moments, take away any anxieties and all distractions, and just allow me to be able to do this work. And it was cool because, I don't know, in the first moment I was just like, ah! And then, yeah, after that it was like the rush, and then it was all gone, and it was great, and it was like so cool, and I was like, yo, and I just, yeah, obviously I had fun after that, but it was just like, it's really dependent on God in those moments. So yeah.
Yeah, that was one moment. Were there any others where you saw God working in your life?
There's been so many things. I feel like obviously there's so many things that God does, but it's like with, I went on a mission trip at the end of the year. There was a couple of moments where, I don't know, you could just really feel him with you, whether that's going out and talking to people, or I don't know, I sang on the side of the street. Me and one other guy that we were off together doing the evangelism with, we like sang on the streets, and I was like, I would never do that in the past, like just singing there on the streets. But even, I don't know, there's just so many things that God's been present, just it sounds so silly, day-to-day life, just being able to serve him and his people, Christians. I don't know, I'm so thankful that he's just allowed me to do that. He's just there with me as I just go off enjoying ministry and stuff.
Tell us about this missionary trip that you went on.
So the missionary trip is called Beachy, so, well, Nelson Beachy technically, with student life. So there was about 60 of us around the country from student life. So, well, not Auckland, because Auckland was not in a good place either, like they are now. The Waikato, Hamilton, Wellington, Otago and Christchurch, like I think students came in, they went to Nelson over New Year's, and we came together, learnt different ways of being able to talk to the gospel with walk-up evangelism. We also did like surveys, and then we did a bit on relational evangelism as well, and just learning how to still talk the gospel to people and how that's an important part of life. And yeah, I think we had like 4 people come to faith over the trip. It was really, really cool. Obviously, we can't keep in contact with them, but we partnered with the church up there, I think St. Stephen's, and then, yeah, to minister to them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one thing, like talking to you, one thing that I found so super cool was it that you decided to follow Jesus and then a week later you were like, cool, I'm going to evangelize and I'm going to share the gospel with people? I think that's so cool. Like, where did that come from?
I don't know. I think just, I don't even know why they let me do that, to be honest. But I think, yeah, I was just like, well, if I'm gonna do this faith thing, if I'm gonna definitely put my trust in Jesus, I'm gonna just full send it. And I think that's just something I do anyway. I'm just a bit weird in that way, but just, yeah, it was so much fun, and just that joy that I felt even in that first week of knowing Christ, which sounds so crazy, a week, and then like that joy, and then I was just like, you need to tell people, I think it was just an urgency that I was just like, I need to tell people. And it was so cool just seeing how student life dudes did stuff, even like 6 months after coming to Christ. It's like, I was one of those people 6 months ago. Let's get him. So, I don't know. It was so cool. I like talking to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was super cool because I guess I've always been someone that's like, I should only share the gospel once I like know everything and know how to answer everyone's questions, and once my faith is like logic proof and everything. But yeah, I think it's so inspiring that you were able to just share it straight away. And yeah, I guess something that struck me in what you just said was that you experienced this incredible joy. And because of this joy, you're like, okay, I have to share it with other people. Would you like to tell us a bit more about what your life was like over, your childhood and high school and everything, before you knew God?
I don't think inherently my life wasn't bad. Like it was. I was very blessed, I think, growing up, that I have very supportive parents. My parents are still together in a non-Christian setting, which is so fortunate to have. I think, yeah, I've always had struggles with mental health and with my skin and all sorts of different problems. But I think only in my high school years I kind of just, had some really bad times with anxiety that led on to sort of bullying sort of things. So that wasn't so fun. And then obviously eventually coming into, was it in my early 20s? Yeah, early 20s. Well, I'm early 20s still. But coming into there and just having the only people that I kind of had left, let go of me, was something that was just like, oh, this is not too fun. But yeah, that's when God swooped in and he's like, haha, perfect timing, and got me.
So how do you think God had been guiding you throughout, I guess, the story of your life to bring you to that point where you did decide to pursue God further and find out more about him?
I think it was definitely really present at this kind of 6 months of last year, the start of 6 months of last year. But then, I don't know, I think it's kind of weird, looking at a lot of my values and looking at a lot of the things that I already believed. It's kind of aligned a little bit with Christianity and the Bible, which I think was definitely handy, made the transition a lot easier. But especially in those 6 months, I just can see God working in my life with, I don't know, it was a week transition when I was like, I should go move back up to Christchurch And then everything kind of just worked. Like
Wow,
I
yeah.
was able to start my degree, like enrolling on the first day of the degree, and then starting a week later, I was able to find a flat straight away. My old job up in Christchurch was like, yeah, we'll have you back. And
That's
it's like,
amazing, yeah.
So it's like, not a lot of those things would happen usually. And it's just like, oh, like, even before I was a Christian, like, God had me. And I was just useless.
Yeah. Sorry, not that, yes, you're useless, but also
I get what you
kind of
mean.
yes, yeah.
But yeah, so it's just so cool just reflecting back on that sort of things and just being like, he was at work long before I even knew it. It's like crazy to reflect on. Yeah.
And so, yeah, what these values that you're talking about that you feel like coincided with Christianity, like what are these values?
I guess some of the things were just like, I don't know, even when everything was bad in my life, like in the times I was most depressed and all that sort of things, I was just like, life will get better at some point. Like things always just continue. And it was like kind of like some sort of peace I had inside of me. And I think it was, well, thinking back on it, I'm like, oh, that's just, yeah, sort of like my own like head knowledge of like God's in control. But obviously not realizing that it was actually God, but like there was something in my brain.
Yeah.
Just a lot of the other lining things. My mind's going really blank right now as we're doing this, of course.
It's okay. It happens. It happens. You're doing great.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I'm just trying to think. There's just, I don't know, I think the whole like sacrificial love as well. Not necessarily just in like a relationship setting, but just trying to stick it out with the people around you and trying to work through things. I guess I'm just a very like person-based things. There's a lot of things around that, and there was just, I don't know, there's so many different things, but my mind's just going, nope.
That's okay. That's okay. So then, yeah, you said that when you met people at Student Life, I got the feeling that you really enjoyed the community aspect of it. And so, yeah, what were some things about Christianity that really attracted you to the faith?
I think throughout my whole life, I've always just looked at people's faith and been like, it's so cool how much certainty I think people can have in faith, and obviously Christ mainly, but it's just really, it was really inspiring for me just looking at that, but coming into the actual community and seeing it and just the love that especially the people in Student Life had for me and the absolute care they wanted to just like see me come to know Christ, and I think that's something that really stood out to me. I just, yeah, like I said, I'm a very people person, so for them to automatically accept me and then just like wanting to discuss things with me in a deeper level, wanting to meet up with me and all that sort of thing, it was just that love that was there, and it's something that really even drove me to coming to Christ, was the endless love that I could see of God's that was in his people. And I don't think there's things that can really replace that, especially fellowship and churches and stuff. It's something there to remind us of Christ. Yeah.
That's so, I totally relate to that as well. Okay, cool. So then I guess meeting you, I realized that even in just the 1 year that you've been like a Christian, you know so much scripture than I did in my first year of becoming Christian. It was crazy. So I was curious to know what scriptures are really powerful, feel really powerful and meaningful to you in the Bible.
The first one that I always usually think of is Romans 15:13. So this is, did I write it down? I think I did, just because I was like, I'm not going to remember every word of this. So may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope with the power of the Holy Spirit. And I think not just for a Christian, but everything else, it's like you're just going to, if you have this hope in Christ, he's going to give you peace, he's going to give you joy as you entrust in him. And like especially when you first come to Christ, you overflow, and it's just like so amazing. And I think that's one thing that's always stuck out to me. And I think even as I continue my walk, it's like praying that that's going to happen and continue to happen and stuff. So that's the one that's kind of stuck out to me the most. But
yeah. Oh, that's okay. So then what is it that you are looking for next in your relationship with God?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think just learning to like tune to his frequency a bit more. So being able to, I guess we've got the Bible as this platform, which is where God can speak to us, but also just trying to discern like what is of him and what is of the world and what is of myself, etc. So I think just constantly continuing to learn that and just trying to see what his will is for my life. And I think I also need to learn how to rest in him a bit more as well. But I think that's something we all constantly try to learn.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I think this year, one of my biggest things has been to try and figure out how to rest as well in our church and everything. It's been one of the key topics that we focused on. So yeah, I totally relate to that. Yeah, trying to figure out how to rest well, but also not be lazy, but then also work hard, and just, yeah, it's a big thing. So I guess as we come to the end of our episode, would you like to introduce to us a worship song and tell us why you picked this worship song?
So this worship song, I've only actually listened to for probably about 6 months, but it's something that's really just impacted me. So this song was played at Student Life's mid-year conference, and it's called Abide, and it's just one of those songs where you hear it and you're like, oh, this is so good. I don't know. It's one of the songs that's kind of hit me a bit harder, one of the first songs to do that. So it's just, yeah, it's all about Christ is the way, the truth, and the lie, and he needs to teach us to abide. And it's just like praying this song as you sing it. And it's just one of those songs that I just really enjoy and reflect on quite a bit, and just, yeah, so that's why I picked it, because it's just a sweet little song as well, and I just love it so much. So, yeah, I hope everybody else enjoys it as well.
Well, thank you so much, Hannah, for joining us in this episode. I just think, yeah, you've just completely inspired me with how bold you are with your faith. Yeah, so, yeah, I think that's something that I will definitely take away from hearing your story. So, yeah, just thank you so much. And we hope that the rest of you guys have enjoyed this episode and will enjoy the final song.
For my waking breath, for my daily bread, I depend on you. I depend on you for the sun to rise, for my sleep at night. I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. You're the way, the truth, and the life. You're the well that never runs dry. I'm the branch and you are the vine. Draw me close and teach me to abide. Where the Spirit leads, as I'm following, I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you for the victories still in front of me. I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. You're the way, the truth, and the life. You're the as I enter rest. I depend on you. I depend on you for eternal life, to be raised with Christ. Oh, I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. You're the way, the truth, and the life. You're the well that never runs dry. I'm the branch and you are the vine. Draw me close and teach me to abide. Be my strength, my song in the night. Be my all, my treasure, my prize. I am yours forever, you're mine. Draw me close and teach me to abide. Would you teach me? Would you teach me to abide? Here I am, Lord. Would you teach me to abide? Would you teach me? Would you teach me? I depend on you. I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. I depend on you. Oh, I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. I depend on you. I depend on you.
Thank you for listening. Tune into our episodes every other Sunday at 12:30 p.m. on Plains FM 96.9. Otherwise, catch us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Remember to stay in touch on our Facebook page at God Is Not Absent. See you guys later in our next episode.